Welcome to another round of Prem and Proper here at SDH. The midweek matches are done. We'll get you ready for the weekend coming up in just a little bit. We'll hear from Maddie as she cruises through the Prem. We'll hear from Drew as Drew gives you the 3D, the Drew Dickinson diatribe for yet another week. We'll go through all the standings, get you ready for all the Christmas tree side dish numbers that you'll have coming up this weekend, all coming up in the next little bit here on Prem and Proper. So, match week, middle of the week, done. Finished up on Thursday with the two matches. Everton over Newcastle by the final of 3-0 at a plus 221 at home. Everton now out of the relegation zone with the win. West Ham over Spurs 2-1, and it happened off a turnover, a pass that didn't have a whole lot of enough weight on it, was taken over by West Ham in transition just outside the 18. Keeper tries to come up and make a save, and keep it away from the defense. Doesn't happen. Hits the post. Rebound goes back in. West Ham takes the lead, gets the win 2-1. So, after the midweek, here's where we stand. Match week 15 in the books. Arsenal, 36 points. They are in first. They've won 4 in a row. Liverpool, unbeaten in their last 5. They're at 34 points. Villa, 3 wins in their last 4. They're at 32. Manchester City, they drew their last 3 up until the loss in the midweek. They're now at 30 points. That's group number 1. Group number 2, Spurs have lost 4 in their last 5. They only have 1 point in their last 5 matches. They're at 27 points, ahead of Manchester United on goal difference. 26 points. Newcastle had their 2-game win streak snapped with the loss to Everton. They're in 7th. Brighton's in 8th at 25. West Ham is 9th at 24. Now let's get into group number 3. Chelsea, or group number 2B, or however you want to phrase it. Starting in 10th, Chelsea is at 19 points. They have 3 more goals scored than Brentford, having to go to the second tiebreaker to get the advantage. Chelsea, 10th. Brentford, 11th. 18 points. Same record. Fulham and Wolves. Fulham has 1 more goal scored than Wolves, 21-20. That determines 12 and 13. Crystal Palace has lost 3 of 4. They have the same record, but they're ahead of Bournemouth on goal difference, 14th and 15th. Nottingham Forest have lost 4 in a row. They're now at 3, 4, and 8. They're at 13 points. Everton out of the relegation zone with 10 points, having won 3 of their last 4. Relegation zone currently, a lot of the 3 teams that we had anticipated being a part of the process, the 3 teams coming up from the championship. Luton Town at 9 points. They've lost 3 of 4. Burnley's lost 4 of 5. They're at 7 points. Sheffield United's lost 3 in a row. They have a new manager in Chris Wilder, and they are at 5 points. They've scored 11 goals in 15 matches. So that sets us up for getting ready for the weekend. Let's take the tour and hear from coaches, principals, and pundits and get you ready for what's going on. Starting things off, it is Roy Hodgson. Roy Hodgson apparently had something thrown at him in the midweek. And it might have been a hand warmer or one of those hot pockets that we see, but nevertheless, he had something thrown at him. And, he's obviously, not a fan of getting things thrown at him, but understanding the frustrations, he understands the lay of the land right now with all the frustrations with Crystal Palace being in 14th, having lost 3 of 4. But he is calling on the fans, courtesy of Crystal Palace their own selves, to rally and help the cause.
We need the fans of Crystal Palace as we know them, because without them, it will become really, really hard for us, because the players need them. So I suppose my point to them, if I'm making any point at all, is don't desert us because it's a bad moment.
Steve Cooper, Nottingham Forest, once again 3, 4, and 8. They've lost their last 4, and I don't know if you heard this one, but last time out, Nottingham Forest loses 5-0 at Fulham. After the 4th goal of the match, owner Evangelinos Marinakos apparently was so mad he left Craven Cottage after Fulham scored the 4th goal, and it was the second different player to score a brace at that particular moment in time on the night, and he chucked his credential into the bushes. Apparently it was found because there was a picture taken of said credential. So Evangelinos Marinakos, who had fired his manager at Olympiacos on Tuesday, and they're 3rd in the Greek Super League, looking at the same thing with Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest is playing Wolves this weekend, and it might be a match at the Molineux that could serve the end for Steve Cooper, and maybe the end of Roy Hodgson. and the beginning of Steve Cooper at Crystal Palace. That's what the word on the street is. If Forrest loses faith, if Marinakis loses faith in Cooper, then he could be the replacement for Hodgson at Crystal Palace if their time continues the way that it is. But Steve Cooper was asked about what's going on. Here's his response about focusing on the future and the future of the club, not his own.
Well, I don't think like that. I think that's not a good way to think. It's like saying to a player, you have to play well in the next game, or you won't play again for the club. So it's just not a thought process I believe in using. Of course we're disappointed with the results, and particularly the one last night and the performance, evenly so. But more than ever, you've got to show belief, you've got to show character, and belief in character in what you want to be and who you are and what you stand for, and obviously what the football club and the supporters need to see as well. So that is my thought more than ever, is to, of course, there's going to be a lot of questions and stories and whatever else said, and rightly so, and I respect that, and that's the life of a manager, and I don't think it should be any other way. But at the same time, you have to stay honed in on your day's work. You have to stay honed in on where you're at in terms of preparation for the next game, which is Saturday. And really, if I let anything else creep into my thought, then that means I'm not giving 100% to the job, and that's exactly what I want to do.
You'll probably hear a lot more about this coming up in the 3D, but Manchester United's Erik ten Hag, they've won 4 of their last 5. Frustrating the daylights out of everybody. They're in 6th place right now, believe it or not, having won 4 of their last 5. They've only scored 18 goals on the year. Erik ten Hag, despite all the frustrations going on around fandom in Manchester United, is sticking with it. He's asking the fans once again to do the same.
It's the crisis.
But it's felt like that.
Not for us. We are in a journey. We keep calm. We look into the process. We know where we have to build. We know where we have to build on. As I say, we're going in the right direction. We don't get distracted from criticism around us, but we are very critical on ourselves. We know we are not quick, satisfied and happy. We always want to do better.
So the title race, we mentioned that top group. 4 teams separated by 6 points. Stephen Cocker was asked on Good Morning Football about it all, and he's saying, the team in 4th, don't count them out either.
You were with Liverpool, Stephen, when Jurgen Klopp was doing his best to transform a club, including playing a bloke called Kolker up front every once in a while. But he now seems to be transforming Liverpool for a second time, building a second era, and they look like they might be well placed to challenge on all fronts again this season.
I think they're the ones to watch. I really do. So Arsenal, of course, are leading the way. They had a really good season last year. Liverpool, for me, have got the experience of winning the league in recent years. They've got a really strong squad. And I just think that the Jurgen has them firing. They seem to be going under the radar a little bit. They've been in top form, and they went away to the Etihad and got that point. And I think that was a real moment where you thought, hold on, like Liverpool can do something this year. So again, what makes the Premier League so exciting, and for me the best league in the world, is that there's so much competition, right? So they went away to Sheffield United, they won 2-0 yesterday. Clean sheet, again, 3 points, momentum. They'll be looking to build. He'll have his eyes on winning the Premier League, as all the teams in and around them will. But it's certainly going to make for an exciting finish. I think that Liverpool are in a strong position. I think Arsenal are there again. I mean, they go away to Villa on the weekend, and they're going to have a tough game. But as I said, City for me are still the team that I think if they can turn it around now, then I believe that they will come out on top.
Courtesy of our friends at Sky. Now it's time to catch up with Florian Plettenberg at Sky Sports Germany, as our friends from Sky Sports News did the same, and they wanted to ask him a couple of different questions. The first about Manchester United and the notion that Erik ten Hag, he may not be getting some January transfers.
Raphael Varane is struggling to get into the Manchester United team right now. What could happen to his future? Could we maybe see him go over to Germany?
Well, I've been told that he can really imagine to leave Manchester United now in the winter transfer window. And as you know, his agency is very close to Bayern Munich because also of Trevoh Chalobah. So they are doing their jobs, and his management is sounding out the market. So they have also spoken to Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich is interested in the player, in the profile of Varane, but they say internally, I think, or they think, the bosses think that he is quite too expensive because he earns, to my understanding, more than 70 or 80 million pounds a year. And I have also heard that Manchester United is much more focused on selling him instead on a loan with an option to buy. So difficult situation. Bayern is interested in Raphael Varane, but at the moment it's unrealistic to get him.
And Florian, if Varane was to leave, could that see Jean-Claire Todibo replace him at United? He's a player who's been heavily linked with Manchester United before.
Absolutely, a former Bundesliga player with a high quality. And to my understanding, he's a candidate of Manchester United now for the winter because he's cheaper than the absolutely desired target for summer. And the desired target for summer of Manchester United is definitely Antonio Silva. What a player, what a central defender from Benfica Lissabon, maybe the most talented central defender in his age on the world right now, with a high percentage of pass accuracy. So a quality player. Manchester United want to go for Antonio Silva in summer because he has a release clause of around 100 million euro. First the talks have taken place.
And then there's the future of Joao Palhinha. A lot of teams outside of the Premier League are interested. Would Joao Palhinha be interested in leaving? What's Fulham's stance? Here's Plettenberg on that.
Fulham's Joao Palhinha missed out on a move to Bayern in the summer. Do you think he could be the next to join them next month? And how much do you think it would cost them as well?
Well, I think that Joao Palhinha won't join FC Bayern in the window transfer now in the winter transfer window because to my understanding, Joao Palhinha would like to join Bayern. He has never lost the focus on Bayern. He's a very, very good player with very solid performances at Fulham this season. And there's still a kind of contact, but the Bayern bosses are more and more skeptical if they really want to pay that money now in the winter for a player whose the situation is not quite clear. Is he really better than Kimmich, Goretzka, or Konrad Laimer? So at this stage of the upcoming window, Bayern won't go for Joao Palhinha. It's cold, it's not hot, but things could change in January. But at the moment, they are more focused to find a central defender who can also play as a right back. And this search for a central defender is very, very difficult.
Once again, courtesy of our friends at Sky Sports and Sky Sports Germany. Good Morning Transfers over at Sky decided to tackle the situation involving the Arsenal goalkeeping controversy, if there is in fact one. So here's what their thoughts are on David Raya and Aaron Ramsdale, both wanting to be the number one for the top team in the Prem.
I think both keepers are better keepers than they're both displaying, ironically. I mean, David Raya, some of the mistakes he's making, fundamentally letting the ball go underneath him, not really claiming crosses. With all the biggest respect to Brentford, when you move to a club the size of Arsenal from Brentford, challenging in the Champions League, challenging at the top end of the Premier League, he's feeling that, but he's also feeling the pressure of knowing that Aaron Ramsdale is kind of breathing down his neck as well in terms of if he makes a mistake. Then Aaron Ramsdale's thinking, I haven't got much time to imprint myself if I get a game, and I know that I'm probably going to be back out again. So he's a bundle of nerves as well. So like Harriet says, they both don't win. But actually, I think in the long run, I'm actually with Mikel Arteta. If he believes that there's an opportunity to make Arsenal even better by getting David Raya in the long run, and then we have to go through this part of the bedding in period, then that would make him right. I get this part of it is not good, and you don't want keepers feeling like that. But it has to be like that. And for Aaron Ramsdale as well, I do think he's too good to be a number two. He would think he's too good to be a number two. And if, we might talk about it later on in the show, but if someone like Newcastle need a keeper till the end of the season, and I think Aaron Ramsdale's almost, he's going to go to the Euros regardless because he's not the number one keeper. I think he'll go anyway. But he's just too good to just sit and be number two. So I don't know, James. I know it'll be better for Arteta if he has them both there in case one sort of doesn't do well. But I think Aaron Ramsdale could be pushing. in January.
I think we spoke about this conversation on the transfer shows in the summer, and I always thought I understood what Arsenal were doing in terms of wanting to continue to strengthen and have real depth in every single position. But when it comes to goalkeepers, it feels like a very different conversation, and you are always going to be left in a situation where somebody's happy. There are players who are out of the picture when it comes to different positions, but they will get those opportunities. With goalkeepers, you're not seeing it as much. And I think, crucially, Ramsdale may feel let down because what Arteta was saying in August about the rotation, about there being no number one. Well, clearly, since Raya started that first game against Everton,
lied.
He has been number one.
Well, maybe that was the plan from the outlet. But the issue for me is that it doesn't allow either of them an off day. And every goalkeeper, every position in the pitch, they're going to have a game where they're not 10 out of 10. They're not even 7 out of 10. And I think that's what you've seen with both the goalkeepers. There is that element of rustiness coming in and element of nerves coming in. They need to be allowed an off day without feeling like they're going to get subbed out the next game, because goalkeepers need that consistent game time.
Last time out, remember, Aston Villa came out with a big win against Manchester City, and people are already starting to kick dirt on the grave of Manchester City, the defending champs. We got a couple of sound bites coming up on that. But first off, Pep Guardiola giving Villa all the credit.
The better team won. So Aston Villa was better than us, and we struggled to make some process, and after, especially when they defend a medium block and we make a build-up, so we didn't find inside and outside any movements in behind. It's really difficult because they are well organized and they are fast and physical players. They are able to control many aspects. That is the reason why they are up there and playing good football, and we could not do it. So it's my duty, my job, to find a way to come back the situation, because not on many years together always we were able to find a way to win games, sometimes playing good, sometimes playing not, but always we find a way to do it. And now that we are struggling, so we have to change the dynamic, win as soon as possible Luton, Crystal Palace, to change our mind and continue to be in there. Of course, Rodri is so important, but it's my job to find, when Rodri is not there, to find a way to do it. Today is simple. A better team won, so they were better. You have to accept. I said to the players, so football it's happened. So it's not about, I know you tried, I know you want it, I know you do it, because you've proved to me, everyone, many times, but now the results are not good when always they were the game. Because the game we played recently and the way we played in the past, we have won it. Today we are not able, and after we are not top, always we are not consistent enough to win the games. And that's why I have to think about it. I have to sleep, I have to see the games, I have to reflect how the players with this one and try to do it.
Courtesy of Manchester City, their own selves. And then Jurgen Klopp was asked after Liverpool's last match, their win 4-3, the crazy match at Kenilworth Road, the 7-goal thriller, about the title race. And folks, discounting Manchester City, courtesy of Liverpool, their own selves.
Jurgen, as it stands, Aston Villa are beating Manchester City. Arsenal go at the 97th minute to beat Luton. Is this a title that's going to go right to the wire, and how tough will it be?
I have no clue. If we win it, I hope not. So, I have no clue. We will see that. If I don't know, if they lose or whatever, if somebody would write City off, that would be the biggest joke in the history of football. That really makes no sense. Arsenal is obviously fighting, had a similar experience as we had a few days before. Feels really good. Anyway, you have to play the next game from the start again. It's 0-0 and not 4-3 already, and you don't score a late goal and can take that into the next game. So Aston Villa is incredible. United is there, don't play yet maybe exactly football they whoever wants it. I'm not sure, the media or whatever. There's some arguments. But have points like crazy, so they're around Chelsea. I'm not sure if they're coming. So it's all these kind of things. And you have to play them anyway. Who cares where they are? We have to play them, and they are incredibly strong. The league is incredibly strong. You need to be lucky to get through difficult moments, with injuries especially. And so I have no clue where this will end up.
So that gets us ready for the week that will be, and time to hear from our other contributors here. First off, it is Drew Dickinson. And time, once again, thank you, Joey, for the 3D.
What's going on, everyone? Happy holidays to all of yous. I am Drew Dickinson, and welcome to this week's 3D. And of course, Manchester United has given us plenty to talk about. We saw this past weekend an absolute deflated United squad. I can't really stress that enough. They got absolutely ran off the field by Newcastle. It was, it was an embarrassing display. The score was 1-0, but don't let that fool you. It wasn't even close on the field. Making headlines coming out of that game was the work rate or lack thereof from Marcus Rashford. Walking, sulking, laziness, not tracking back, you name it. He couldn't have cared less to be there. I get you're in a rut. Trust me, I do. It has happened to the best of us. It seems to have happened to you a little bit more than I would like. It's, if you don't know this about me, Marcus Rashford is my favorite player for United in the world, really. I've loved Marcus since he came on the scene, but he's really been Jekyll and Hyde. And it's just, you hate to see it, but, when you wear that shirt and you represent that badge, you run, you defend, you give it your all. And, this is Manchester United. You're making over $300,000 a week. It's time to start playing like it. He wasn't the only one, but for sure it was the most recognizable. If you didn't see that, I suggest go back and watch and just track Rashford for the time that he was on the field. It was nothing pretty. We fast forward to this week, and now there's a different headline. And me personally, I absolutely love this. After weeks of negative publicity, rumors, lies, Erik ten Hag and the higher-ups at United have banned certain media outlets from attending the press conferences. Most notable, Manchester Evening News is Samuel Luckhurst, who has been the captain of the negativity ship, and Rob Dawson of ESPN, a couple notable names banned from the pressers. Ten Hag, he left it real simple. You tell lies, you spread false rumors, you're banned, plain and simple. These, quote unquote leaks or reports in the past, they were catalyst for past managerial firings. So I think it's awesome to wean out that negative energy. With that being said, we reverse that negative energy. Wednesday, United welcomed Chelsea to Old Trafford. Wednesday, 2 days ago, United welcomed Chelsea to Old Trafford and quite honestly played the best game they've played all season. I cannot stress that enough. The pressing, the attacking, the teamwork, the passion, it was all there. And when I say pressing, it was so great to see even the defenders joining in, the wingbacks, joining in on the press. For his lack of effort over the weekend, Ten Hag, he dropped Rashford and he replaced him with Antony, who played great. Sofyan Amrabat played fantastic. He's starting to really come good. Alejandro Garnacho, he's looking awfully familiar out there on that left wing. He's really, really starting to feel himself, especially as of late. But my gosh, once again, the machine, the McTerminator, Scott McTominay with a brace to help seal a 2-1 victory over the Blues, who, they just continue to struggle under Mauricio Pochettino, who is a very good coach, if I say so myself. It's just a weird group of players. But I digress. United now have 27 points, 3 points off the top four. We saw City lose during the week to Aston Villa. Crazy. Manchester United on Saturday morning, they play Bournemouth, who come to Old Trafford. Let's hope United can keep up those winning ways. Real quick, an update on Sir Jim Ratcliffe's 25% stake in United. Well, there is no update. Looks like the quote-unquote announcement has been moved to next week or the week after next. Line has been dropped again. Might not be until the new year when this is announced at this point, but we'll keep you updated on that. Also, before I get out of here, reports coming out today that United are putting Jadon Sancho, Rafael Varane, and Casemiro up on the sale block. Sancho has been on the chopping block himself for quite some time. Varane seems to have fallen out of favor. It's difficult to see him on the pitch without Lisandro Martinez, who's, supposed to be due back before the new year. We'll see about that. But Casemiro, this is a new one for me as he's currently out injured. I don't know about this one. Reports say Erik ten Hag wants a player with a different type of playing scheme, playing mentality than Casemiro, which doesn't seem to be a knock on Casemiro. It just seems that Ten Hag, he just wants a different style of player. And, he's the boss. So obviously his choices have come good so far. So I, of course, trust him. But just like everything else, Manchester United, tune in right here for more updates. We've got some really, really good midweek games and, of course, some good games over the weekend. But that's going to do it for this week's 3D. I really appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to everyone next week, and we will send this one back over to you, John.
Told you there'd be a lot of Manchester United talk in there. And now, time to catch up with Maddie Cruz as she cruises through the Prem through her Newcastle Prism. Rough day for them, losing to Everton 3-0 at Goodison Park.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Prim and Proper. This is my little segment called Cruising Through Prem, and we're going to be going through kind of what happened in this midweek saga of Premier League soccer, which, I mean, it's crazy. It's nuts to say the least. If you would have told me that Manchester City would be at 4th in this season, I would not have believed you. Would not have believed you at all. But, I mean, it's crazy. Looking at everything that has happened with Aston Villa beating Man City 1-0, I mean, that, to me, was crazy. And then if you wanted another fun game to watch, if you guys want to go back and watch any fun games, Arsenal and Luton, wow. I mean, that game was amazing. I am still watching Rice's goal even today. I remember it popped up on my Twitter page today, and I definitely rewatched it because it's a beautiful goal. How can you not? I'm sorry. I'm getting too caught in my head of myself, but very, very good midweek of soccer going into this weekend. I mean, if we're looking at the standings right now, we got Arsenal at the top, Liverpool in second, Aston Villa in third, Manchester City in fourth, the Spurs in fifth, Man United in sixth, and Newcastle going down to seventh. And then some great news too, Everton is out of relegation zone, which has been a huge topic in the past couple of weeks of us talking with them getting the 10-point deduction, them now being in a zone of possibly getting relegated. They were able to move up with their win against Newcastle, which I have thoughts. I have thoughts as the fellow Newcastle fan here at Soccer Down Here. I mean, we just did not look good. We did not look good. I didn't think we looked the best. I mean, going into the first half, I wasn't nervous. I was like, okay, this is all right. This is fine. But we just didn't show anything. And I mean, Trippier was so off today. So off. I mean, what was going on? Two missed goal. Oh my gosh, I can't even speak. Gave up, pretty much handed Everton 2 goals. That is what infuriates me. Makes me upset because he's one of our best players, and just to make a mistake like that, especially when you're away, I don't know. Something about it didn't sit well with me. But I will say, props to Everton. Everton came out and they played amazing. Everton had 21 shots with 6 on goal. Newcastle only had 13 with 3 on goal. I mean, goes to show who the better team was. Even though we held possession, we couldn't make any shots. I thought Almiron was finally going to get that header in, but it just went a little bit above the crossbar, which really made me upset. But I will say, I think the highlight for me in this game was definitely Beto. Beto for Everton scored to make it 3-0 in stoppage time. And I mean, you all better watch that goal. That goal is amazing. He went right in between the keeper, right in between his legs, and got it right in that corner. I mean, it was beautiful. I thought it was a great goal. And I mean, we just didn't play well. And, going into this weekend, we're playing against the Spurs at Spurs Sunday, December 10th at 11:30 a.m. And, I mean, it goes to show. I mean, we played on the road against Everton. We didn't play the best. I mean, what's going to happen when we go back on the road? It's making me worried. It's definitely not something that I really wanted going into that. They're number 5 in the rankings, It's going to be definitely a win or lose match. We are going to have to win it in order to stay above the 7th place. If we want to even go past 7th place, I mean, we're going to have to. It's troubling to come out of a game like that and to move forward into the next game, but that's what you have to do. You have to look ahead and look at what they did wrong in that game and then move ahead. That's what you have to do. But enough with my rant about Newcastle, and that's all I got for you guys for this week of Prem and Proper. Thank you, guys.
Thanks to Maddie, and thanks to Drew, as always, for being a part of Prem and Proper. So now that sets up the matches on the weekend. So here we go, and it is a relatively calm week for a change. It is only Saturday, Sunday, no Monday Night Football, but then you come up with Friday night 15, 16, and 17 for the next week. So here we go with Match Week 16 on the board. So your board starts on Saturday morning early, third match in a week for all these folks. Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. It could be the end of it all for Roy Hodgson. They're a plus 507. At press time, Liverpool's a minus 185. Draws a plus 359. 4 matches, 10 o'clock. Brighton and Burnley at the Amex. Brighton a big favorite at a minus 192. Manchester United at Old Trafford, big favorite at a minus 182 as the Cherries visit at a plus 470. Sheffield United at Bramall Lane, big underdog at a plus 353, hosting Brentford at a minus 1.25. And Wolves Nottingham Forest, probably the match of the 10 o'clock window for all the reasons we've been talking about before. Julian Lopetegui is being looked at as possibly a successor for Steve Cooper if Cooper is booted. Also Marco Silva. Nottingham Forest on the road at the Molineux is a plus 347 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Wolves is a minus 115. Villa and Arsenal, your late game. That's another great game late on your Saturday, the 6th match of the day. Villa, a plus 246. Arsenal comes to town at a plus 112. Your draw is a plus 270. 4 matches on Sunday, 3 at 9 o'clock. Everton hosting Chelsea at Goodison Park on the quick turn. Chelsea's a plus 134. Draws a plus 262. Everton's a plus 202. Fulham hosting West Ham. Fulham a plus 139 at Craven Cottage. West Ham's a plus 202. And your draws a plus 250. Luton Town and Manchester City. Luton Town at Kenilworth Road a plus 1655. This could be a get-right game for Manchester City. On average, a minus 667. Your draws a plus 819. 11:30, it is Tottenham and Newcastle at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs are a plus 122. Newcastle is a plus 208, and your draw is a plus 290. Thanks to all the teams and all the networks that help us out on a daily basis when it comes to letting you know what's going on when it comes to the life of Prem and Proper. For Maddie, for Drew, I'm just John. Thanks for hanging out with us here on SDH. Enjoy the weekend. Get gassed up and ready to go. Should be a fun one here as we look at life in English football.